All right, let's move into the vocal presets. There's quite a few here. I'm gonna just pick a couple and just go through them. Aggressive rock vocal, that's common. You might be starting to see a trend here of what you do, and hopefully I've actually taught you a lot about EQ just by going over these presets. But this is basically, you know, the approach is, you know, filtering out and taking out what you don't want. In this case, there was, you know, I'm trying to take out all the low end. That's completely unnecessary. Getting rid of some honkiness maybe here at 300 or so. Getting rid of some nasal sounding inflections, I guess, from the vocal. So that's all the stuff that I didn't like in that vocal track that this preset was based on. And then I'm still adding warmth to get maybe some chesty sound to it, some power in the 500 just to make it a little more aggressive, adding some attitude, clarity at 3.3K, and then presence. So maybe these are not all supposed to be this high, but these are sort of the places that I would go. So instead of brilliance, I would pick presence if I was using the Audio Issues EQ, and instead of bite, I would use clarity, because clarity will bring the more clarity to the vocal, obviously, but 1.2K, which is the bite frequency, will actually add more nasal tone to it, and you definitely don't want that. So there's a huge difference between just these two buttons here when it comes to the sound of the vocal when you're using the Audio Issues EQ. And then the attitude, this can often just, you're trying to bring out this sort of like, you know, this low, this MIDI heaviness, I guess. And edge is similar, like that's maybe not exactly what you want from the vocal. And tone, 330 would sound honky on a vocal if you add too much, but power, a little bit of 500 might add some hardness to it in order to cut through the mix. So like, there's a lot of thought put into exactly what these frequencies do, and whether you pick warmth or weight will drastically change the tone of your mix or your tracks and your vocals in this case. Vocals, bright verse vocal start. All right, let's look at that. So again, filtering up to 100, taking out some nasal tone, taking some sibilance out here. Now, you might want to use a de-esser instead of an EQ to take out your sibilance. And a de-esser is just a frequency dependent compressor. So what a de-esser does is it just takes this frequency area and only listens to this frequency area and pushes it down and compresses that frequency area whenever it hears too much of it. So that's what a de-esser does. And so that's what I'm trying to do here, but that's sort of it constantly. Like, I'm constantly taking out that sibilant area, and you might not want that if you have a de-esser, but this is where the sibilance would be. And then again, weight 250, a little more, it's not the warmth, which is 160. It's more, there's more weight to it. It's more, it's a rounder tone. And then I add a little bit of clarity, always 3.3K, always a great place to go for clarity on a vocal, and then a little bit of presence to just push things through. So that's the bright vocal verse start. And then let's do pop punk vocal chorus cut through. So very specific. So you can see I really went through some sessions there. And again, boxiness, filtering, sibilance, weight, power. So weight 250, power at 500, which are harmonics of each other. And then, or power is the 500 is a harmonic of 250, and then clarity at 3, and so you get that, you get it to cut through here. So that's some pop punk song, I guess I did. Present vocals, you know, similar vibe. I often feel like if there's too much boxiness there, you're gonna get it sounding like this, you know. And then nasalness, taking that out, a little bit of clarity, a little bit of presence. So some of these presets might work for you if you use the Audio Issues EQ and you just start browsing presets. And then, I have this effect here. This was actually, let's go through these two, and let's go through these two. And then that's the smooth and warm R&B vocal start. So this was sort of a smooth vocal. It takes out a little bit of the boxiness, takes out the nasalness, sibilance, and adds some warmth. So punch at 100, so that's pretty low. So that vocal was had a lot of chest to it. Some warmth here, 160, but also some clarity and presence. So it's smooth and warm, you know, thick yet clear. And then the telephone filtered vocal. So this is sort of the, you know, if you want like an effect. So as you can see, there's almost nothing here. There's just everything's filtered out. There's just this telephone area here and a lot of edge and a lot of bite. So it's 1.2K and 2.5. So it's basically gonna look like that. It's gonna kind of have a Batman curve, sort of like that. Let's see, yeah, there. And then this is 1.2. Oh, this is a filter. 1.2K here. So it's gonna have these sort of Batman curves. So that's gonna end up making it sound sort of like a megaphone effect, so a telephone filter, like a very heavily filtered vocal. So that's those are a few vocal presets, vocal starting points that you can go to when you're trying to get, you know, either get rid of that honkiness or that nasally tone, or you want to add some warmth and weight to it or some presence. So those are the frequency areas to look for. All right, so let's move on to the final video, which is the mix bus enhancer.